In just 2 weeks, the German army storms across France and Belgium, pushing hundreds of thousands of British and French soldiers to the sea at Dunkirk.
They have revolutionized warfare. They've realized that speed of movement is now the key. So you create these armored formations that move fast.
They are harnessing new panzer techniques with radio technology and the support of the Luftwaffe. That's the new thing.
A brutal aerial bombardment, fast-moving tanks, a superhuman infantry. This is Blitzkrieg, lightning war.
Blitzkrieg, it means speed. Maneuver warfare, a campaign which is focused on a very quick, decisive battle.
Blitzkrieg is one of the most extraordinary events of World War II. Now, rare footage from around the world, expertly restored in full color, tells the story as you've never seen it before. After their defeat in World War I, the fiercely proud German people are utterly humiliated. The punishing terms of the Treaty of Versailles rub salt in the wounds. The global industrial power is limited to an army of only 100,000 men and loses territory.
The Germans feel very put upon by the Treaty of Versailles because it essentially says that the Germans are guilty of starting the war.
There's no question that most Germans felt outraged by the provisions of the Treaty of Versailles, the shrinking of the army to just 100,000 and the loss of territory and these massive reparations, which everybody knew were going to have serious economic consequences. And the reason they objected was because it implied that Germany was responsible for the First World War, and this was their punishment.
How could their powerful nation have lost? And why are they made to cede land to lesser nations?
The territorial losses are quite significant. They lose territory in the east to the Poles and to the Czechs, and they're forced to demilitarize the Rhineland, so they can't use it as a launch pad for a renewed invasion of Belgium and France.
Feeding on the resentment, a populist rabble-rouser taps into wounded German pride and promises to take back what has been lost. Adolf Hitler and his Nazi party start to build a mass following. The German people see him as a savior, the man to restore their once great nation.
There was a feeling in Germany that most Germans felt when the Versailles Treaty was passed that the provisions were unnecessarily draconian, both the loss of territory and also these massive war reparations. And what the Versailles Treaty did, in effect, is blame Germany for the First World War, whereas many Germans felt that actually they were no more responsible than any of the other countries. And so this rankled.
Unser Vaterland, die Bewegung, die beides einmal retten muss.
Hitler correctly diagnoses that the Germans are suffering a great deal of political and economic insecurity. What they need most of all is a sense of unity and a sense of economic security. It's kind of a floor underneath them. And the Nazis provide this by talking about, state intervention in all sorts of areas to create employment, building the autobahns, things like that.